All right, hey, how's it going, everybody? So I'm going to show you all the JSON patch document that was newly introduced in .NET 10. So historically, this was, I believe, available through Newtonsoft, but now it's built right into the system text JSON. So super nice. And I have this application running. This is Retry Rabbit. I've showed this on the channel before, but this is an application that I'm currently building. And this is an endpoint that I have here, so I just tried to space it out just so it's a little bit cleaner to look at. So it's a patch operation, and you can see that it accepts a queue name in the route, as well as from the body, this JSON patch document. And if you hover over that, the namespace is right here. So Microsoft ASP .NET Core JSON patch dot system text JSON. And if you are wanting to try this out, just make sure that you come over and install that package. So it's going to be right here. And again, this is available in .NET 10, so you will have to just make sure your project is targeted to .NET 10. So once you have that, assuming it's all good, you can then pass in whatever type you want to apply to there. So for me, it's a queue type. And that corresponds to some stuff I'm working with in RabbitMQ. So that's going to be a queue based off the response from RabbitMQ's queue endpoint. So that's what I'm going to send up to my this patch endpoint here, and then I have a service to update the queue. And a little bit of code here, and I've showed some of this in the channel before, just building the connection to RabbitMQ. But for our purposes here, what I'm doing is this right here. So this apply to, if you hover over it, it says apply this JSON patch document. And then what you want to do, you see it's called on the patch. You want to pass in the type that you want to update the, so you say patch.apply to queue. So you get your existing object, which for me is an existing queue. And then I'm saying, okay, I want to take the patch and apply it to that existing queue. So I can update values, I can remove values, I can add values as well. And how this works is in your request here for a patch document, you're going to have these set of operations you can do. So you can do like replace, you can do add, you can do remove, you can do a lot of things, and it's very, very effective because you can do multiple operations in the same patch request, which is really where the power of patch comes in, because some people conflate patch with like put and maybe even a post. But the problem with that is that post you start to blur the boundaries between your different HTTP verbs. So where patch comes in, and why I think it's important that this has been updated and added natively in .NET 10, is it enables you to do what patch is designed to do. And so I want to show you this in operation here. And so basically, I made some code to update a queue without having to come in and do everything manually inside the UI, right? Because if you work in RabbitMQ, I would have to delete this, re-add the bindings, and do everything. So I'm just going to run this endpoint, and I'm going to let's see. I'm going to remove an argument. So what we're going to, actually, first before we do remove, I'm going to go and just swap an easy value so I can show you. So I'm going to say that I'm going to replace the auto delete property with true. By default, it's false, so I'm going to do a replace. I'm going to send that patch request up. And you can see that right there, now it has automatically been updated to true. And now if I go to, let's say, I want to remove an argument here, and I'm going to now, what you have to do is you want to give it the path, so the path to the property. I'm going to delete the value because there's not going to be a value because it's going to be removed. And I'm going to swap back my replace here, and then I'm going to actually change the name of the queue to be engine data. So I'm doing 3 different operations. I'm doing 2 replace and 1 remove, and I'm going to run that. So I get a 200. So we'll come back to, now obviously this is not found because it's a new queue. So if I go to engine data now, you can see that all the queues, everything that I applied here has happened, and now it's updated. And so now if I go into here, now I can query engine data. I'm going to leave the name. I'll just leave the replacer. It's not going to affect anything. But now if I want to then add an argument, what I can do is, let me just come back here and add, and let me just remove that second replace because I don't want that to be, well, I'll just make it false just for fun. All right, let's run that. And now, oh, I changed the name again. Whoops, that's fine. Okay, so you can see that what I applied here to change the name, add the argument, and replace has taken effect. And if let's leave the name as is. If I change that to be false, and I run a replace there, and then I pass in the path here, X single active consumer, okay, and then I give it the value of false. Let's see if it takes that. So that should flip to false now. Oh, undefined. Okay. I don't know if it would come back to be, let me set it to true again. Let's see if it takes that. I'm not too worried about what okay. But you kind of get the idea. Obviously, this is my own code, so there's probably some bugs with how I'm updating this. But you can see the power of the patch request because I can not only execute, I can execute multiple commands essentially, and have it do several things at one time. And this is made possible with this apply. And so it's very, very powerful, and it takes a lot of the validation or the manual validation out of the equation that you would typically have to do on the model state. And obviously, like if this was like a post request, you would have to do a lot of manual mapping. You have to do, your checks. You have to do all that stuff. But with a patch request, not only is it more implicit in like, okay, we know what a patch request is, and with .NET 10 now, you can just apply it like that. And you can check for model state errors as well, depending on where you're at. So if that's how you're going to do it, you can do that. You can throw JSON patch or JSON patch document exceptions. You can do a lot with it, and it's very, very powerful. So let's see what else you get available. So you get some other things like I'm drilling into the object here. I'm running the apply to, but you need to add, copy, move, replace. So it kind of shows you what you can do, but it's very, very powerful. And again, for my specific endpoint to enable this is really just this code here. So again, a patch, and then you just wrap your type in this JSON patch document. And then when you actually run your request, this would be a given structure here. And you also have to make sure that your header is set to be application/JSON /JSON -patch + JSON. So just make sure that you have that set for your content type header. Once you do that, you should be good to go. But again, very, very powerful. And yeah, so that is roughly the native patch operations now available in .NET 10. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.